There you go. Lovely.
All right.
Fabulous. Okie dokie. I'll assume we're ready to start. Simon, I will hand over to you. I just wanted to do a really quick introduction. So hopefully you can all see Rachel's screen. So we've got a guest speaker today, which is really exciting. Angela and I met Rachel at an event just before Christmas. Rachel is the NHS Wales eLibrary and Knowledge Services Manager. I had to write that down so I didn't forget. And Rachel's here today to talk to us a little bit about the NHS Wales eLibrary sort of service and what the team do and what they offer, and a little bit of a demo of sort of, what's available. So I guess without further ado, Rachel, if you wanted to kick us off, thank you.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very sorry that my camera's so dark. I have no idea what's going on, so hopefully you can see me. But the presentation is the most important thing. So, as Laura said, I'm Rachel. I'm the NHS eLibrary and Knowledge Services Manager. And yeah, I've got a little couple of slides and some demos to show you today about how you can utilise the NHS eLibrary to support your work and also the people that you support in your roles. Okay, so let's get going. So what is the NHS eLibrary? The NHS eLibrary is managed and funded by Digital Health and Care Wales, who I know you work with very closely with. We procure a range of different resources for NHS Wales and other authorised users. That includes e-journals, e-books, databases, guidelines, medicines information, e-learning, and what have I missed? E-learning and databases. All of these resources are available to everyone in NHS Wales who are employed or contracted to NHS Wales, but it also includes a range of other users, such as departments within Welsh Government, Welsh Government sponsored and hosted bodies who provide health and social care services or support those employees to deliver in their roles, as well as others. So there's lots of charities that might have access as well, depending on how they're commissioned by NHS Wales. We have an authorised user list on our website if you want to go and have a look at that. But if you ever meet anyone and you think, oh, they might have access and you're not sure, just drop us an email and we can help you out with that. This is just what our website looks like. I'll go on to that in a sec, and just a link there. I'll share the slides with you after so you've got those. So as I've already mentioned, Digital Communities Wales do have access to the NHS eLibrary, and you actually fall under our secondary users on our authorised user list. So as I mentioned earlier, it's individual employees, workers and contractors of organisations which receive Welsh Government funding or sponsorship and to provide health and social care services, etc., etc. I also thought it'd be worth mentioning as well, because I assume that you work quite closely with volunteers, perhaps NHS Wales volunteers. So any NHS Wales volunteer is eligible to access the eLibrary as well. So if you have any relationships with those kinds of eligible users, then you're welcome to say to them, they can access the eLibrary. Generally, NHS Wales volunteers will have an email address, an NHS email address and password that they can use to access. Slightly different for you guys. You do need an Open Athens username and account, and I'll show you how to go and get one of those now. I've got all of this on a slide, but I'm going to show you in real life as well. The link's just here. Some key things you need to remember when you register for an account. If you use your organisation's postal address and your work email address, that just makes it a bit easier for us to authorise your account quicker. Once submitted, your application will come to the eLibrary team, so my team, for approval. It's usually same working day, so if you did it today, you'd get an approval today. If you did it on Sunday, it might not be till Monday, that kind of thing. You'll then get an email asking you to set your Open Athens account password to activate the account, and just check your Focus and your other inbox if you use Microsoft Outlook. Sometimes it can go into the latter, so just check all the various places when it comes through. And I'll just show you, if I move us over, I'm just going to show you how you get to that here. Okay, so if you're on, can you see the screen okay? Am I still displaying it?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, cool, lovely. So I can't see you guys now, so if you need to interrupt me, just let me know. So the NHS eLibrary website, you go to sign in, Open Athens, and register for an Open Athens account. The organisation you need to select is Welsh Government Health and Social Care Funded / sponsored bodies. Fill out the form, confirm you're not a robot, and then that'll come through to us. And like I said, you'll get the activation email, etc. Once you've done that, you then need to sign in to access the e-resources. So if you go to sign in and sign in again, you need to select the Open Athens option here to sign in using your Open Athens username and password. And I've got a test account here just to show you how that works. So my test account is CYMTest05, and my password, oh gosh, I did that a bit too quick then. Fingers crossed that works. I reset it this morning. There we go. And that will log you into Open Athens. You only ever need to log in once to access the e-resources because it's single sign-on, so it'll work across all the resources that we have access to. You don't need to worry about this bit on the side. This is just detailing what's available locally to any NHS Wales employees that may have access to other resources through their health board or trust, because some resources are still procured locally. So don't worry about that. You just need to click back here to navigate back to the NHS Wales eLibrary website. And that's it. You are now logged in, and you're just ready to go on your way. So I'm just going to close a couple of these tabs just so I haven't got so much open. So where do you start? Again, I've got all slides for this to share with you after. The best place to start is the NHS Wales eLibrary catalogue. That's that one here. Oh, where's my mouse? Just here. This will search across all of the articles, journals, ebooks, chapters, etc. that we have access to in the eLibrary. It also includes open access content. And the best thing to do is to search by keyword. So as an example, I've searched digital inclusion, so I'll just type that in there and search. So like I said, this will bring up everything that's got the term digital inclusion in the title or in the abstract or somewhere within the text. There are ways that we can narrow down our search, because you can see we've got just over 16,000 results, quite a lot to work your way through. So I'll give you some hints and tips on how to narrow that down in a sec. Some things you can also do is tweak your results just on the right-hand side here. So for example, if you were just interested in what was published in the last month, you can select that. Or if you're looking for a particular date range, you can change the creation date just down here. So generally, people are looking in the last 5 years, so you can change that to 2020 and refine. And you'll see we've gone from 16,000 to 12,000, but that's, again, still quite a lot. So what we can do is add some operators in here to make it a bit narrower. The first thing I always recommend people do is, if you're searching a key term like digital inclusion, is add in quotation marks around the term itself, because what that will do is it will search for digital inclusion as one term rather than digital somewhere in the text and inclusion somewhere else in the text. So it'll help narrow that down for you. So let's search that. There we go. So we've gone down to 452 results now, which is a bit more manageable. The other thing you can do is add in what we call a Boolean operator, and or not. The ones that tend to use the best, that work the best, in library search is and. So if you are looking for articles on digital inclusion and in the healthcare environment, you can add the term and health and search, and that's brought it down to 250 results. And there's something else we can do, which I'll show you in a sec, but just to quickly go through so you can see what kinds of articles and things are available for you. Hopefully this is useful in demonstrating, the kinds of things that might be applicable to you in your roles. They're mainly articles, if I'm honest. There might not be as many books or chapters, and they're ranked by relevance. You can change the ranking to change that to date. So you can do date newest if you would prefer to do that, but it does mean that they might not be as relevant. So it does tend to default to the relevance ranking on that side of things. So I'll just go back to And I think it hasn't kept our creation date from 2020, so you can pop that back in and refine. And there we go, we've got 202 results. Again, a lot more manageable for you to work your way through. One other thing that is useful to do is to click the sign in button here, because what that will do, and you use the same username and password that you used to sign in with Open Athens. Because we've already done it once, when you click that sign in button, it'll just take you straight through. What's great about being signed in, you can see me just at the top here, is that you can save results and save searches and actually set alerts for searches as well to save you having to go back in all the time. So for example, if I wanted to keep a couple of these articles just to come back to later, you can just hit the little pin there, and that'll pop it in your little pinned folder up here. And so if I go there we go, and it also saves everything from previous as well. So there's lots of other things that I've saved in the past. You can go to a search history as well, so it'll keep that search history there. If you click that, it'll just rerun the search for you straight away. And because it's ranked by relevance, it will just bring the relevant article to the top. You could choose, like I said earlier, to change that to date, and it will give you the latest articles at the top instead. You can, excuse me, save the query as well. So if you click that, and then you could also turn a notification on. It'll pre-populate with the email address that you've registered with, and it will send you an alert every time there's a new article or something new pops up in that search, just again to save you going back into that and having to rerun the search yourself. If you go to the pinned then and go to your saved searches, if you wish to, you can take the alert off. You can delete the search. You know, if you're getting too many notifications and it's starting to annoy you, you can turn that off in here as well. I'm just going to go back to my search. I just wanted to very quickly show you another thing that we can do to help narrow down a search. So for example, if you were looking for articles and resources on digital inclusion and a particular user group, then there's an option that you can do for that as well. So I've done a example search on elderly people, so elderly, and this is where you can add some synonyms into your search. So for example, a synonym for elderly would be old or older. So you could put the term old with an asterisk and then close the bracket. What the asterisk does is that it'll search for the term old, but also older as well. So it'll broaden that term that's being searched. Just adding the brackets separates this search from this search, but the use of the and combines it into one search. It's a little bit more advanced. I'm sorry if I'm losing anyone on this bit, but we use this basically again to sort of narrow and broaden the search. But the reason I've done it today is because I've put a link into this particular search in the PowerPoint slide, so you can just click that and it'll just go and do the search for you, saves you having to come back in and do it yourself. So if we search that, here we go. So you've got 146 results for this one here. Digital inclusion in later life for older adults digital inclusion, new challenges. So you can see here where we've put the asterisks on the term old, it's looked for older throughout the text as well. Again, you can refine this to 2020, refine. That's brought us down to 111. Again, a lot easier to manage. Now, if you want to access the actual article, go away and read it. Some of the articles will have the option here just to download it straight away. So if you click that, it will go and find the PDF for you, and you can download the PDF there. Again, you're already signed in to access everything, so you don't need to sign in again. And there's the PDF for you. If I go back to the search, I'm just going to close that down so I've not got too many tabs open. You may find some of them don't have this download article option. I'm just trying to find one now. Oh, like this one here. So if you go to full text, it'll give you the option of where you can actually find that article. So this one is available through Elsevier Clinical Key. So you would click that, And again, it should just take you straight to the article because you're already signed in. Going to take your time. There we go. And same thing, you can download the PDF just by clicking the PDF option there. Once you download the article, it's yours to use for personal study and personal work. You can, of course, share that across your team as well. You can share it with external users, but they have to be authorised user of the eLibrary. So, for example, you could share that with an NHS Wales employee or certain employees of Welsh Government, again, volunteers. So because we pay for a copyright licence for NHS Wales, you're able to share that across the authorised user sort of domain. You can also share links to them if you prefer, but sometimes it's just easier to share the PDF so they've got it straight away. I'm just going to close that down. Close that. The other thing I really wanted to show you is this it's in beta testing at the moment. It's an AI tool, but don't let the term AI scare you just yet. Let me just close these ones down because I've already done that search. Now, Prima Research Assistant is a large language model generative AI tool. It's a natural language searching tool. And it basically means you can type in your query as if you were going to type it into Google, and it will give you the top 5 most relevant articles that it deems the top 5 most relevant. It'll give you options to refine your search and develop your search, and it will also generate a summary of those articles. So generate an AI-generated summary of those top 5 articles. And I just had a play around with it the other day. So I typed in how to motivate patients to get online. So a very simple natural language search. And then it'll do its thing in the background. Oh, it's going to take ages now, sorry. Here we go. So it's given us the top 5 articles that it deems them to be the top 5. So analysing the barriers and enablers to internet hospital implementation, maybe not. Accessing a feasibility study, online support platform, listening to communities, mixed method study. That sounds quite interesting actually. Disadvantaged mothers and pregnant women with digital health technologies. Patient motivation as a predictor of digital health intervention effects. And this, again, is an AI-generated summary. You can copy and paste that into something and rehash it how you want. The only thing we recommend is that you do reference when you use a generative AI summary or any generative AI wording, just to cover yourselves, because obviously this is been generated. The same thing if you were using this for any literature searching capabilities, just to reference that you've used a generative AI model to complete that search. As I mentioned earlier, there are some related search questions that it'll pop up. So, for example, what role does patient education play in increasing online engagement among healthcare consumers? Or this one here, what are the barriers to online health engagement for patients and how can they be addressed? So you could, for example, click that and it'll do that search for you as well. As I said, this is in beta testing at the moment. We haven't actually formally launched it for use across NHS Wales. We just softly launched it in the background, so we'll go have a play with it. There are a couple more features that are going to be released, such as an availability flag, so it'll tell you whether this article is available through the eLibrary, as well as a date range filter. So, for example, if you searched this natural language search and said, I only want articles for the last 5 years, it will only bring up articles for the last 5 years for you. And all those things we're hoping will be ready in February, and that's when we're going to formally launch it. But do go and have a play around with it. But like I said, just take it with a pinch of salt and some caution if you do want to copy and paste any of the content from here. One other thing to note is that you do have to be signed in to access the research assistant, so just make sure that you've done that there. I'm going to close that down. I'm just going to bring my presentation back over, just to go back to the other resources that are available. I'm just conscious of time, so I'll briefly go over these. Some other resources that are available for you, there's e-learning, BMJ Learning. I've got this open here already. If you just go to resources and e-learning here, in here there's a lot of health and care professional e-learning modules, but there's also a section on professional skills, which is useful for yourselves. So for example, when you go to browse courses and professional just here and scroll through, there's courses in here on dealing with conflict, quality improvement. There's a nice inclusion essentials, emotional intelligence, etc., presentation skills. So lots of stuff in there that will be applicable to you in your roles as well as health and care professionals. The great thing about these is that you can use them for any appraisals, PDR. You get a certificate at the end to show that you've done the module. And the modules range, you can see here some of them last an hour, some of them are multiple choice questions, some of them you watch videos and provide a reflective written piece. It varies across the board, but you can also gain CPD points as well. So for health and care professionals in particular, anyone who's looking to revalidate, like nurses, doctors, etc., they can use these to support their revalidation process too. Other thing to mention is databases. So again, if you're working on a policy, or if you're doing an essay, if you're in university at the moment, then you can use the databases to do your literature search. I'm not going to go into detail about how to do a literature search today because we need another 2 hours, but just to state that we've got a range of different databases available. They're all listed here. We've got your Medline and your Embase and all of those that you might already be familiar with, but there's others like the Health Care Administration database that will look more into the subject matter of things like digital inclusion, Health Management Information Consortium, and lots of others as well. Again, I won't go into how you actually use them, but if you do want to learn a bit more, we've got lots of webinars coming up that I'll show you later that you can join to find out about how to do literature searching. The other thing to mention is if you are already users of Google Scholar, brilliant, keep using it. If it's what you like, go for it. The only thing you can do to enhance that is add the NHS Wales eLibrary to your Google Scholar, which means that you'll be able to access full text from your search. So for example, if you go to the settings and go to library links, if you search NHS Wales, click the little box and save. Next time you do your search, if we have it in the eLibrary, you'll see this little full text at NHS Wales option pop up here, and then that will take you to the catalogue to find the full text. So it basically just opens up a range of articles for you, so you're not just relying on open access or other library services that may not have subscriptions, for example. Just very briefly, because I know you work with health and care professionals as well, just a couple of other resources that we subscribe to that are more applicable to them in their roles. There's summaries. These are research and reference resources that help at the point of care with patients. They are used to help support diagnosis, what investigations should be ordered for a particular patient. They help support with comorbidities of the patient. And what's really great, which you might appreciate, is there's a section in there that supports the conversation with the patient. So it supports the health and care professional to have those difficult conversations, or any conversation with the patient regarding the condition. Again, I won't go into detail and go into it today because I know I don't want to overload you with too much stuff, but you have access to these resources yourselves. You can go in and just have a little look around. You can search by condition, an option to browse by speciality and things as well. They're really intuitive to use, so you don't need any training necessary to go in and use those. One is the guidelines. And another reason I want to mention the guidelines is because lots of these resources are openly available. So what we do in the eLibrary is we basically curate a range of purchased information and a range of freely available information on the public space. So for example, the British National Formulary, this is publicly available on the NICE website. It's available to patients and the public to go and access to find out a bit more about their medications and what the side effects are, those kinds of things. Our website is public facing. So I know you work with members of the public as well. So, you know, if you wanted to promote some of the freely available resources to support them in making informed choices around their care, then this is a good place to come, because this is sort of where we put the trusted information, save them going to Google or Wikipedia and perhaps finding stuff that really isn't evidence-based. So yeah, a lot of the stuff here is free. So like I said, the BNF, the NICE guidelines, there's professional guidelines that are available for free. SIGN, which is Scottish, but you know, they work collaboratively with NICE, so that a lot of them cross over. Health Technology Wales reports, etc. So there's a lot of information in there when it comes to guidelines. Some of the stuff we buy nationally include NUC guidelines, iRefer, which is a radiology test requesting tool, and the Royal Marsden, which is the sort of gold standard for nursing procedures and practices across Wales, is endorsed by the CNO office. Lastly is the Medicines Information page. We subscribe to Medicines Complete. This is for health and care professionals mainly, but again, there's lots of freely available resources just down the bottom here, such as Travel Health Pro. That's the go-to for information on travel health if you've got if you're working with anyone that's traveling abroad, or they want to find out more information if they need vaccinations and things, then that's the sort of go-to resource there. Like I said, there's lots of other freely available stuff in here too. Lastly, and I'm very sorry for going over, but there's quite a lot to cover. If you need any support, if you go to the training videos and webinars section under the support, we've got a video on getting started with the eLibrary, which is essentially a slightly longer video of what we've gone through today. Recordings of our last finding information session. So again, literature searching, if you're looking to go and do a literature search and watch this video, it gives you all the key hints and tips and how to actually conduct a search. If you want to find out more about how to explore evidence, we've got a little mini series on Boolean searching that we touched upon earlier, levels of evidence and using filters. And then we also have supplier training videos and webinars. So if you wanted to learn a bit more about using the evidence summaries, then we've got some videos here from direct from the suppliers. Lastly, the eLibrary training calendar. I mentioned we've got a lot of webinars coming up soon. If I click into this, so you'll see this week is Health Information Week. So we've got a couple of sessions. We've got one today on Medicines Complete. We've got a tour of the eLibrary tomorrow, which is going to focus on inclusion topics. And then we've also got a finding information, so a live literature searching session tomorrow at 2 p.m. You can just click into there and register here, Welsh or English, to sign up to those events. But again, the recordings are always shared. So if you sign up and you can't end up coming, then the recording will be shared with you after too. Lastly, if you have any recommendations for anything that we should buy, if you find that we haven't got a particular journal that would be useful for you, you can make a recommendation just here. Just fill out the form and pop in the name of the resource, tell us why you need it, why you think it's important, and we'll look to see if we can procure it in our next round of procurement activity. I'm just going to pop you back over here so I can see you. Let me get you up here, and I'm going to quickly go through my slides just to check I haven't missed anything out. Done research assistant, other resources. This is a little video on how to set up Google Scholar to go back to later if you can't remember. Some links to all the support and training videos that are available for you. And I mentioned about tertiary users, which would be members of the public, so where they can access that curated content. One other thing to mention is we actually procure Cochrane Library database for everyone who's living and employed in Wales. So anyone who's based in Wales has access to Cochrane Library database, which again is evidence and reviews of systematic reviews, etc. And that is it from me. I've got any questions, and if in doubt, just contact us at eLibrary at Wales. And I'm very sorry for going over time, but hopefully it was useful.
Well, that's great, Rachel. I think there's going to be a whole load of people signing up, so
Great,
you'll be busy. I'll definitely be using it myself.
lovely.
If you have any questions for Rachel, you can either put them in the chat there or email you later, maybe, Rachel.
Yeah, I'll send these slides to Laura now,
Yeah.
and then she can circulate them. But you can go ahead and self-register for an account now. I've already prepped the team to say we might get a couple of accounts generated today, so they're on the case, ready to approve things. So, yeah, feel free to go away and start doing that. But any queries at all, just email eLibrary@Wales. We're a team of 5, so there's always someone around to pick up your call if you have any queries.
Right, that's great.
Okay,
Thanks
lovely.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Rachel, bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Right, so we'll move on to yeah, actions from the last meeting. I don't know. Have we got somebody who wants to one of the managers who wants to mention that, or
Yeah, basically, Laura, I'm seeing that it's complete. The trainers have been added to the regular thematic meetings, and obviously you'll see the wonderful Emma is on screen today. Welcome back, Emma. And so you'll have had the update in the Teams channel of Emma being added as well. Thank you for the for completing the inactive digital inclusion hubs contact spreadsheet. I would note that a couple of people had said waiting for a response. If you miraculously have had a response from anybody over the sort of Christmas period, do update that spreadsheet again. If you do update it again, please let me know that you have, because we have sent it through to Hilary, so it'll just be a case of me sending an updated version to her. But if you do get any additional responses, let us know. And the last one, obviously you'll know that we did a bit of a rejig when it came to new project development. So an action from the last meeting had been for colleagues to complete the form. Obviously we listened to everybody's feedback and had a conversation about the form is maybe a step ahead of where we are with ideas. So in the last team meeting, obviously you all went into breakout rooms having identified project ideas that you're interested in. So that was replaced by the spreadsheet, which you'll see that's in the minutes, and obviously people put down their ideas, people signed up. So just a reminder on that one, if you are the lead for any of those areas, please make sure you are booking in meetings with the people that are interested in taking that idea further and working it up. We know that the one of the groups has already met around foundations, which is fantastic, seen an early kind of proposal on that one. But yeah, a reminder, if you are a lead, please make sure you are booking in some collaborative time with the colleagues that are interested in working those ideas up. But that is the actions from the last meeting, Simon. Thank you.
right, well done. Right, well, we'll go straight into the managers' updates, starting with Jossal.
Get myself off mute. Good start, isn't it? Hi everyone. Hope you're okay and having a good start to the week. Just wanted to give you a quick update. Obviously, I sent an email out a few weeks ago just saying that we'd put an options proposal to Welsh Government, and there was a potential that there might be a 3-month extension. They've come back to us now to say that the Minister has confirmed a 3-month extension. What they haven't done is confirmed the exact value of that extension. So until we actually get the letter off them, which hopefully we should get in the next couple of days, that confirms the exact value, then we can look at doing our modelling, because obviously we've had a lot of staff moved off DCW and come back in. So what we have to do is model our costs from April onwards, because obviously our costs go up with whatever pay award will be given, but also the increase in national insurance. So as soon as we've done that piece of modelling, then we can come back to everyone and confirm what the delivery will look like in that final quarter, which will be July through to September. You know, we're hoping our best to make it work, but I don't want to say to everyone it's going to be exactly the same as we are now, because until we look at the finances that sit behind it, but also recognising that some staff might still be working on other projects, we've got a little bit of juggling to do in the background. So yeah, so it's good news that there is an extension. They've done it on the grounds that it brings their process and DCW ending closer together. So in terms of them commissioning whatever that new programme is going to look like, they're saying it's either going to close the gap or minimise the gap between us, this programme ending and a new one starting. So their process hasn't changed at all in terms of February putting an options paper to the minister, and then the minister's response will then determine what the commissioning process will be for a new programme. And then once we have that, we'll be in a better position to know what that looks like and start the bidding process for that. So we're still none the wiser in terms of what came back from the consultation. They're very shady in terms of what they do and don't say to us, because obviously they're saying, well, we can't put you in a favourable position to other people who might want to bid for a future contract. So as you can imagine, some conversations are very difficult, which doesn't make anybody's job very pleasing at the moment. But yeah, so we're working through it. We've got the 3-month extension. Just asking you to bear with us for a couple of days while we run the figures behind the scenes and look at where staff are going to be working, you know, so if there's another digital conference Denbighshire, if there's the Ofcom work and things like that. So yeah, if you can just bear with us for a few days while we do that juggling, and then we can come back to you with an absolute of this is what the final quarter means for the programme, for everyone on it, and you know, this is where we are. So yeah, happy to take any questions if there are any. Sorry, it's not you know, anything better than that, but we're just doing our best at the moment and working with some quite difficult and challenging civil servants, I would say would be the best description.
I just want to say, like on behalf of the team as well, Joe, a thank you to you and Beth. And I know you've been really pushing with that paper and recommendation for the 3 months. So yeah, just a well done on getting them to listen on that front.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there were other options that were much better than 3 months, but they went for a 3-month one. So I guess it's better than nothing, because the main thing is that there isn't a drop in provision. I think that's the most important thing. So all the work that's been done over the years and years doesn't just kind of drop off and then a new programme have to start from scratch. So yeah, we'll just sit and wait now until we know a bit more.
Right, thanks a lot. It's nice to have some good news. Yeah, Laura, or
Yeah, lovely.
Laura?
Thanks, Simon. So perfect. So my first one, Jared, I don't think you've got your camera on, or you're not on my screen. But Jared is our newbie. Fabulous. Hello, Jared. So yeah, Jared is joining us as our sort of policy and comms intern, as opposed to sort of previous years. Jared is going to be sitting within the DCW team rather than with policy and comms, just so that he can get fully embedded into the madness that is DCW, which is really exciting. But Jared is going to be supporting with the sort of policy and comms function of sort of DCW, working really closely with us and policy and comms to present and promote the impact of the work that we do. And what Ward and I are sort of speaking to Jared about is looking at how we sort of present ourselves from a human interest perspective and an impact perspective, and maybe how we can do things a little bit better to sort of share our stories and shout from the rooftops about all the great work we do. I know it's come up a lot before in sort of previous meetings where we say we're all doing really fantastic stuff, but we're just not very good at tooting our own horns. So hopefully Jared will be able to help with that a little bit over the next couple of months. He's with us until the end of March, so the end of the financial year, and yeah, just a really big welcome. I do have a little request for everyone for sort of Jared, Ward and I. If you can add Jared to any of your upcoming thematic group meetings. Sorry, the word completely escaped me then. Yeah, if you could add Jared into your upcoming thematic group meetings, just so, number one, he can get to know you, and number two, he can get to sort of grips with hearing some of the stories and seeing what we can unpick and sort of talk about sort of publicly, which is exciting. And if you have got any clients that you've been working with or any organisations that you think, oh, do you know what, I'd love to tell this story, but we just haven't had the time to sort of get stuff sorted and pull it together, please let Jared Ward and I know, and we can help you sort of build that together, and pull it all through, to be telling those impact stories. So just wanted to say a huge welcome to Jared. Welcome to the team. We're officially in week 2 and he keeps coming back for some reason. So Jared, I don't know if you wanted to say a quick hello, just so everyone can see you.
To be honest, I wrote a thing that basically just said everything that you said, ready for the meeting. Hello, I'm Jared, and I'm very excited to get to work on some of these stories and spreading the good news, I suppose.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So welcome to the team. Lovely. Simon, do you want me to go through my next one?
Yeah.
Lovely. We'll just
Crack on.
crack on through the list, I guess. This is one for, I guess, me and Caddy. So Caddy, please feel free to hop in if I miss any big bits of information. But over the next quarter, we've got a small budget for independently made case studies. So it leads us on from the Jared news. And we need to commit to sort of spending that money before the end of the financial year, basically. We'd really like to utilise the sort of and create videos that are in the same sort of style as the SCVS and the Gypsy Traveller Wales ones that we showed you all last year. So we've already started thinking about some case studies. We're going to be doing another on Gypsies and Travellers Wales. So specifically sort of Rover Way, Shire Newton, and Glyn Mill and the site work that's been happening there. So big round of applause to sort of Connor and the team for working so hard to get that off the road, I guess. And we want to do another video that's focused on the wider support to ethnic minority community organisations, and looking at sort of connectivity and the DCW support that sort of goes hand in hand to support ethnic minority communities. So other thematic groups, if you could come through to us with any ideas that you've got. This will be slightly separate to the work that Jared's doing, just because we've got that small budget to get those created externally outside of DCW. Ideally, we're looking for 4 videos in total, so we're looking for 2 more ideas. If you can come to management with any ideas of sort of bigger stories to tell, please do that by the end of January. I know it's a really quick turnaround, but we don't have a huge amount of time before the end of the financial year. It's creeping up yet again. So if you could let us know by the end of Jan, that would be absolutely perfect. Caddy, have I missed anything?
No, it's great. Just to say, it doesn't have to be, the most fully formed idea with the work with Jared, but also with this. But if you right now are sat there going, oh my goodness, I've got a story, or there's something to tell, you've seen the videos from the Swansea Libraries and SCVS one, you saw the Gypsies and Traveller one, you saw Lon's one with Medron Mon and the NHS Wales app. You've got a sense of, we're talking about 4 minutes, but it's about putting a bit of a spotlight on some partnership work in particular. If you are working with a client who you think, wow, we're both doing some really good work here, it would be nice to have something that's got a little bit of money behind it. We were very pleased with the look and feel of those video case studies last year, but don't force it. But if you're sat on something right now, we've got 2 spaces, so please don't hold back. Thank you.
Lovely. And beautifully written notes as well, I must say, Caddy, because that most of that came from you, not from me. Perfect. So my last little one, I think this is my last little update, shockingly isn't about case studies. It's just a quick run through because we're in the new year. I wanted to give you guys a quick run through of some of the training statistics. So all of this information that I'll be sharing my screen now. But all of this training information is available on Gold Vision. It's all on lovely shiny dashboards. Ryan was my hero yesterday with helping me work out how to do different filters and all the good stuff. But I'm more than happy to share the dashboards with you. I think it's sort of standard for the trainers. So if anyone else wants automatic access to this dashboard just to keep an eye on things. You're more than welcome to, but it's just to give you a little bit of a rundown. So trainer allocation, this shows you just sort of how we're delivering, which trainers are delivering sessions and how. So whether it's online or in person. Nice little breakdown of all the different sessions that we're delivering and what the sort of lay of the land looks like there. This event session section just shows us what we've got as a little bit of a pipeline. And I will be continuing to nag the trainers to make sure that these statuses are up to date. So basically, not set means that there's nothing in the box. Booking confirmed is when we've got something booked in the diary and, you know, we're waiting for it to happen. Cancelled does what it says on the tin, and then completed is once the session has been finished, we've delivered it, and the clients have come along. So I will be sort of nagging the team to make sure that that's up to date, because it shows quite a nice idea of what we've got coming up and what we've already delivered. Just to let you all know, all of the information that is on this dashboard is from the 1st of April 2024 onwards. The reason that we've gone for that is twofold. Number one, we started using some of these fields a little bit more in depth in Gold Vision from April. And number two, we obviously changed the way that we deliver the programme post-April. So we thought we'd keep it nice and simple from April onwards, just to give us an idea of what's going on. How we're delivering sessions. So again, this is something that I'll be sort of a little bit more naggy with the trainers with, so apologies team, prepare yourselves for me getting in touch just to make sure that all of these are up to date. We've got events by advisor, so this just shows us sort of who's sort of assigned to training sessions. And I know because we're thematically based, this is a little bit of a weird one, because it could be that, you know, your group is working on a piece of work, but you're the person that puts it in. So take that with a little pinch of salt. The reason that my section is so big is because all of the open access sessions have to go under someone's name. So all of the open access sessions just go under me. It's not to mean that I'm doing all of this work. It's just because it's what we're providing as sort of open access. And then this one is probably a little bit more relevant. It's what sessions we're booking within each thematic area. So this is probably going to give you a little bit more of a realistic overview of sort of what types of sessions potentially people are asking for. Are you all sort of quite familiar with dashboards? You can click onto this and then look at the data in a little bit more depth. Yeah, I've got a couple of nods. Perfect, lovely. If any of you need a hand with anything, you know, don't ask anything too complicated, but I can help with this dashboard specifically. Then we've got our Welsh delivery stuff, and very finally on this, ignore our session attendees ones. Me and Ryan are working that out because I don't know why it's not showing me how many people have been to sessions that are online and in person, but I'm working on it. So hopefully there'll be a little widget on this screen that will show how many people have attended in-person sessions and how many people have attended online sessions. And this is just really handy for a live snapshot if you wanted to take a look at it, to be able to understand sort of what's going on from a training data perspective. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I love it. So I'm putting all of you through the joy of training data. Has anyone got any questions, queries about sort of the data we collect? Is there anything that you'd like to see on that dashboard that I haven't gone through? Feel free to either let me know now or drop me a message later. If you've got any ideas, that would be great.
That's really good, Laura. I like a nice pie chart.
Love a pie chart.
So yeah, Caddy, have you got updates for the quarter?
Yes, thank you. And just a shout out, I won't name names, but a shout out to people who are already sending me case study ideas. That is astonishing speed. So thank you very much. Yeah, going to whistle through a couple of things. So some updates in terms of the quarter report. Firstly, a thank you to everyone for submitting your quarter reports on time. Appreciate Christmas is always a funny one for getting them in. But I am going to please put in a reminder to use the template and the guidance info that's in it to guide you in providing what I would call a rounded update with, you know, appropriate kind of narrative in there. Obviously, you've got the templates and you've been working on them for a while, but there was a growing inconsistency between the quarter report submissions in the last quarter, which did make things a little bit harder for Ryan and I. When it comes to writing a quarter report, it is much harder for the two of us to, when we're pulling the report together, to write formed segments under the thematic heading. So you've all seen the quarter reports before, you know there's a heading for a thematic area, and then there's a series of kind of small paragraphs underneath it going through some of the highlight work. If we don't have all the information, it's really difficult for us. So you guys know the ins and outs of what you're doing. You're doing it on the daily. Ryan and I aren't doing that. And Digital Inclusion Unit definitely don't have that knowledge. So really kind of consider what when you're putting stuff in, consider how somebody who isn't immersed in the day-to-day work is going to receive what you've written. So context, you know, is really important, as you'll understand. You know, if what we have is reference to a client having had training, we don't have insight into the bigger picture. Great, they've had training, but what does that mean? Why have they had training? What's the kind of background? What's the context? What is the client working towards? We're not talking War and Peace. Lots of you are consistently very good at this in terms of writing a succinct paragraph, but basically we can't include the work that you're mentioning unless we go back and forth with the groups, which we did a little bit in the last quarter, to get the clarity. So a request is, you know, make sure that you are giving yourself the time before a quarter submission. You know, have a look at each other's reports as well. We all work in the open with our reports. You know, all of your thematic submissions are in the same folder. Lots of you work over multiple thematic areas. So if you're looking at the thematic report in one of the areas you're in and it looks very different to the thematic report in another area that you're in, you know, it's making sure that you're not working in isolation, you're working collaboratively, because it is a collaborative submission. Be inspired by each other, you know, kind of how you write, what you write. It's not everybody's favorite thing. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, I appreciate, you know, we are in the last run of the program, but we still want to maintain the quality that we've had and we've prided ourselves on for a long time. So yeah, the main thing that I can really say is consider what you've written from the perspective of someone who isn't immersed in your work, which is the Digital Inclusion Unit. And look at it from that lens, because otherwise I will be coming back with 1,000 questions, one from Ryan and I, but then also from the DIU when they send their comments, if we haven't quite nailed it. We try to word things so we get as few comments from them as possible. As many of you know, they can ask some really odd ones, but when you're writing a submissions, just really try and answer things in the round. Don't leave open-ended stuff. Obviously that's part of Ryan and I's job, is to really kind of round those edges off, but yeah, it's just an ask. There's quite a bit of inconsistency. I appreciate it was calendar year end, but yeah, let's not drop the high quality that we've had for a long time in the last few quarters of the programme. So that's the boring bit from me about the quarter report. Following kind of Joe's update earlier, obviously, you know, we still need to figure things out in the background, but ultimately we will be providing an updated delivery plan to the Digital Inclusion Unit, which will include you know, an extra quarter's worth of KPIs. So that's not anything to be concerned about. We are smashing our KPIs. At present, we're already over what we'd need to do by the end, but we are updating that delivery plan, making some amends. Once that has been just kind of thumbs up, obviously I'll make sure you all have eyes on the V2 version. It is really a dates and numbers update. And obviously we've talked to you previously about the decommissioning Gantt chart, the spreadsheet, as we work through all of those different areas. As lots of you have been aware ever since we kind of submitted the request, and ever since Welsh Government said they needed to speak to the CABSEC this side of January about the extension. We said that, you know, we weren't going to confuse matters with clients by telling them one, you know, sort of end date and then changing it. So we haven't moved forward with several of those points on the decommissioning chart, which is absolutely fine. We want to ensure clarity for clients. So we will now, once we've spent a bit of time in the background working things out, we will also be revising those decommissioning timescales, factoring in when certain elements, you know, such as MDM, etc., may finish and impact. So we will be revising that. All of the structure is there, so none of that's been lost. It's just about revising the timescales associated with it, and based on what we can do, seeing how far various bits of work gets eked. But it is to say there will be a decommissioning chart coming back out, but obviously it needs a little bit of tweaking now that we are considering an additional quarter. The final bit from me then is around staff upskilling. So it's just a reminder, obviously Nick sent out the email around the leadership and management qualifications, the ILMs, and in that it obviously said the qualification takes 15 months to complete. On the brochure, criteria stated you must be employed in a role that's relevant, can provide the necessary experience to meet the qualification criteria, and must work a minimum of 16 hours per week. We have clarified with quite a few of you, and we've cascaded it to managers as well. So we had a few questions that in the event that anybody is enrolled on a qualification and then made redundant, because obviously none of us have contracts for 15 months at present, so that needed a bit of clarification. If you're enrolled and made redundant, the training provider would suspend your learning until you secured a new position. Once you found a new role, they would transfer your paperwork with the new employer. However, the new role would need to meet the criteria for the qualification. Long and short of it is, if any of you are considering it, Nick's email does include the contact details for Susan Billington and a link to her calendar, email address. Easiest thing is to have a conversation. Lots of people have come forward being like, am I even eligible because I don't line manage? We only have the information that Nick shared, and ultimately, you know, I'd encourage you to talk to Susan anyway, as to whether it's something that's of interest. Laura, do you want to come in on the ILM?
Yeah, just a really quick one. So my understanding is that they'll put the learning on hold, or the ILM on hold, for, I think it's 3 months, in between sort of being made redundant and finding a new sort of a new role somewhere else, or yeah, whatever that looks like. So yeah, just to keep people in mind with that sort of timescale as well.
That's awesome. Could you, Laura, in the leadership channel, could you add that update in there for everyone else? Thank you. Awesome. So that's ILM. Obviously, have a conversation with your line manager if you're thinking about it, but do speak to Susan about the gubbins of it all. And then the last upskilling one, Connor very kindly shared a while ago the Roma Cultural Awareness Half-Day online training that the Big Issue and Roma Support Group are working in partnership on, funded by National Lottery. It's free training. January and February dates are now full. If anybody is interested, there is one on the 13th of March. You can see it in Connor's email. That's still available at present, although obviously they've been booking up, which is fantastic to see. And there is an ask to any colleagues who are attending that training to please cascade any knowledge or resources back to the team, but also back to Compass as well. And a general reminder that if you do come across any free training like Connor did, which you think may be relevant, please do cascade it out with wider colleagues. That is much appreciated. And that is me done, Simon.
Well, that's great, Connie. Yeah, Ryan. I always like to hear Ryan's voice. He's got a real good radio voice, I always thought. Sounds a bit like whispering Bob Harris. But anyway, Ryan's going to tell us a bit about Gold Vision data entry, I believe.
Thank you. Not sure I get the reference there, Simon, but
No,
I'll take it as
no,
a compliment anyway.
okay.
I think I've requested to. Oh, there we go. Right, cool. I know we're a bit behind schedule, so I won't. Um, I'll rush. I'll go through this bit quite quickly, but I thought it'd be good just to have a little run through the KPIs because fantastic news. We have exceeded both KPI 1 and KPI 2 going into this quarter. So as you can see, we're pretty much, double what our target is for the current quarter we're in, and like well ahead of that total target for both of them. So that's amazing news, and like thank you everyone for all that incredible work you've done to do that. So hopefully this won't kind of like bite us, as Caddy was saying, with if we have to remodel for 3 more quarters, because last time we did so well, they gave us like really big targets to achieve going forward. So we'll try and like temper their expectations. But no, that's amazing news. So thank you everyone. KPI 3, we're kind of on target. We didn't claim anything in the last quarter, but it's going to be something we're going to look at this quarter, and hopefully get a few clients claimed in then, because we've only got 2 more to claim by the end of June, so that should be achievable. But yeah, really, yeah, thank you everyone for helping out with the those amazing figures that we've been getting over the last few quarters to help us achieve 2 of the 3 targets already, 6 months in advance. So that's really good news. I wanted to have a quick refresher, really run through some stuff around putting in data entry on GoldVision as well, because I noticed there was a few inconsistencies recently. So I thought I'd just have a bit of a quick refresher in terms of like entering information, mainly looking around KPI 1 figures and around like the DCP entry stuff. But so firstly, I thought of noting around when a digital consultation plan goes in. It's important to remember though those kind of like KPI 1 sit and supported figures, which is down here, is the main thing that we kind of get from that information. So if you have a DCP that you've uploaded to the folder, but you don't have those figures in yet, I'd ask if you could please hold off on putting that DCP date in until you can enter those figures. Because when those DCPs come in and they don't have that figure, they're if it can go back and then like get retrospectively added in, that date is for previous months, it can be missed. I know in the kind of last phase we had, I think it was like one DCP which had like about 2 or 3,000 people in, and it had been backdated to like a year previously, so we didn't spot this for like ages. But that like kind of figure was really helpful. So I would say if you don't have any figures to add into that DCP at the time, just please hold off adding that date in until you can put that in, and then date it to whenever you've added those figures in. Just because looking back through previous months, obviously is Michelle, I've noticed you got your hand up there.
I just have a really quick question, and I know I probably should know this, and forgive me, but I have kind of got wool between my ears at the moment. But when we do the DCP and we put the KPI 1 figure in off the DCP, often that's the total figure of people supported, including that as a direct consequence of some of our training, that they're going to go and help people, and also kit loan. Do you then duplicate that figure against kit, like some of that proportionate?
So this is one of my points I was going to bring up as well. So in that citizen supported DCP figure, so on the DCP, that figure is only this individual supported by the above figure. It's not a total figure, which is
Okay.
like obviously staff, volunteers, and devices. Because I've seen a few instances where that kind of total figure has been put in. For that one, you only need the individual supported by the above figure in that first column. And then, yeah, like say you'd have the kit individual supported by that kind of like kit individuals, that devices individual supported figure. And this was kind of brought up because in this quarter we've just had, we didn't have any figures for kit individual supported at all. There was nothing put in for people supporting by kit. The numbers aren't usually high, they're usually only in a few hundreds, but I think it was noted, and we did have a couple of instances where there were clients which had that kit date distributed date for the quarter, but they didn't have any figures in that supported thing. So just say as well, if you do have those figures to hand, please provide those as well. Was your hand new again,
Yeah,
Michelle?
no,
Is that-
that's just thanks, right? I think I've got a little bit like caught up in putting an amalgamated figure in the KPI 1 citizen supported. So I just thanks for that clarity. And maybe worth just to remind us on the DCPs against those two little boxes, could we put like KPI 1 supported and then KPI, do you know in the just because sometimes I think I don't know, it might just be me because I just feel, oh, that's the total. I need to put the total, not the individuals.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We can have a look at changing that. That's no problem.
Just to remind us, that's all,
Yeah.
because I forget everything at the moment. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's not a problem. Cheers, Michelle. Ange?
Yeah, just a quick one regarding kit, right? You know, some organisations have had kit sort of several times from us. So if you say they've had another piece of kit, we obviously changed the date the kit has gone out. So the figure that's in there that says 40 that was previously, do we just add on to that figure? Do you know
So
what I
with
mean?
when and same, I guess if you're renewing like a new DCP as well, I'd say replace that old figure with the new one. A lot
Yeah,
of the old stuff that's in the system is kind of drawn off on historic reports anyway. So if we need that information, it is kind of like saved somewhere else. But it just stops that when that new figure goes in, we'd obviously add that figure to the figures. And if that figure is like an amalgamation of the two, like the older one and the new one, it would kind of then inflate that to kind of beyond what the current reported figure was, if that makes sense.
yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be a new DCP. It would just be, you know, somebody might have had some tablets and they might say, can we have a VR headset? So, which I know is only going to be small numbers. So it's not sort of starting from scratch. So do I just add those on to the people supported with kit or what? Do you know what I mean?
So you're saying it like you just kind of give them a couple of extra iPads. It's not like a new piece of work or whatnot.
Well, it is. If they say they had tablets last year, and then I got a client now that's just had a VR headset. Say we got 50 in for kit for the tablets, and then they've got a VR headset, which is a new piece of work. Do I just leave the figure as is, or the dates, or what?
Good question.
So I think, Ryan, what you're saying is basically you would take that figure out that's already there, because Ryan draws off those reports every month. So he's kind of getting a bank of that information. So he's got the figure that would have been in there previously. If you're putting a new, if you're loaning new kit, you're putting a new kit date in, because you've distributed it today as opposed to last year, and therefore you're putting the figure that's relevant for that piece of kit loan into there. So delete what was in there, put the new figure in, and put the new kit distributed figure in.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Paddy. And then just say the next two fields, these KPI1 Sport Pledge and the Digital Champions Train ones, they don't need to be touched by yourselves at all, because that all automatically comes through from the contact side of it. So yeah, it's just really those top two that will need to be added in, and as Michelle says, it might be helpful to add a bit of kind of guidance on that on the DCP, so we'll look into that as well. But yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions? Nope, cool. Thank you very much. Thank you, Simon.
sorry, Ryan, I've got one more. Just
No,
I couldn't
yeah,
find
fire away.
unmute before.
Fire away.
Just a quick one. I've noticed on some of my accounts that the training figures haven't come through, like from people gone into training, and that could be because it's like it could be that there's an overarching client with loads of bespoke sub-clients under it, So if we notice things like that, is it worth flagging up to you, or does it not really matter because they are being counted somewhere? They've just
Yeah.
not come to that particular client.
So with that figure, we draw it mainly off the contacts as individuals rather than through the account page. But if you do notice that it's not adding up, yeah, do let me know, because that's obviously a kind of a problem with the system then, because that should be working properly. It might be, like you say, worth just checking to see if, what the actual account the contacts are linked to, because like say with a lot of say things like health boards and whatnot, there are kind of people who work across different accounts, aren't there, with like you say the different departments and stuff. So it could be which department they're linked to, which account they're linked to. It could be feeding into maybe a different one than you expect to see it in.
Yeah, so I've spotted one just recently of mental health matters, so I'll get in touch with you, Ryan. We
Real.
can clarify it.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle.
It's worth adding to that as well, making sure that you're adding the correct account number when you're booking training in on the bookings calendar. Because then when the event gets created and we're sort of doing linking things together, it just means the correct account is being added to the specific training sessions. So making sure you're using the right account number when you're booking stuff.
Diolch all, Ryan. I think we're moving on to Dewi, who's got some SPF updates.
Yeah, not a load from me. You'll all see that Ian's back in the room. So Digital Confidence Powys came to an end at the end of December. I've just been working through the kind of final closure forms and final bits of reporting and stuff. Yeah, the team did really well with some very tight timescales, considering it was essentially, a few months of delivery when you kind of factor in the beginning of the project and the fact that that was over the summer months as well. So Ian has been the length and breadth of Powys, delivering sessions, and obviously lots of support there as well from Lorraine and others in the training team as well, to be able to deliver all the sessions that were scheduled right across Powys. So yeah, really pleased with the numbers that we reached. Well, particularly in terms of the output, so people accessing life skills and basic digital skills. Yeah, so we don't know what's happening in Powys. So in Powys, they have taken the approach of all their projects closing at the end of December, and we haven't heard anything in terms of what would be happening in the transition year for Shared Prosperity. So all the local authorities in Wales have received notification of what their funding allocation is going to be for 25-26, and as we could see from last year, this is going to be a transition year to give, I guess, the Labour government some time to consider what a longer term program might look like, and it'd be lovely to move away from the kind of short termism of the past few years and the uncertainty, essentially with it being kind of year on year bits of funding. Emma is back, as you will have seen as well, for a few days a week on DCW, and we'll be kind of working up to, I think we kind of covered that, but we'll be back on the project full time towards the end of February. Had some reasonably positive noises in terms of the Denbighshire project, nothing concrete as of yet, but they're really happy with the project. So fingers crossed, we will be potentially delivering the project again next year, but we have not received confirmation of that yet. But discussions have been positive. Yeah, in other areas of Wales, each local authority or each kind of region might take a slightly different approach to how they fund or what projects they pick up. It's UK government's preference to fund existing projects. So yeah, we'll just have to see what opportunities present themselves in terms of SPF for the next year. But yeah, just to say, I think the Powys project really demonstrated the benefit of that two-pronged approach in the way that we're working. I think having that kind of on the ground delivery presence, it kind of sparked a lot of other activity from a Digital Communities Wales perspective, and I think things are really kind of going from strength to strength there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see obviously what comes from Welsh Government's consultation and what they're thinking will be around kind of future policy. Yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Dewi. Yeah, so we'll be going now for the group updates, and seeing I'm doing such a good sterling job of keeping it to just 20 minutes over time at the moment. We'll be picking on ethnic minority communities first, and we'll have 3 points from each group and then opportunities for questions and answers.
Bro, that's me. Hello, everyone. I'm going to give a short update from both the ethnic minority community and Gypsy Roma Traveller perspective. Just a quick view, really. Obviously, over the Christmas sort of period, a bit of a quieter time in terms of communications, but we had a few really relevant and useful meetings in there. So in terms of working with TGP Cymru, we attended a Pan Wales networking meeting. So that's basically a lot of local authorities all come together to discuss work that they're doing with Gypsy Roma Traveller communities. From there, it's led to a few good connections and next steps. We met with TGP separately after that then as part of a follow-on meeting to coordinate and arrange some specific Roma community support work now, which has been really positive, because it's been really difficult to get inside and work with that community in particular. So in starting in February, mid-February in Newport, we're going to be working in person in a community centre for in-person digital support. So that's we're looking forward to that. We're going to look at resourcing that as well. Also starting in February, BASA is hosting a new online network for digital inclusion in ethnic minority communities in Wales. So yeah, if you have anyone who you think might be benefiting from coming to that, get in touch with Bassett, let them know. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a networking space for sharing collaboration, knowledge sharing, sort of like the I think it was a digitally connected communities project that went on before to really good success. So this is sort of like a new iteration of that in some respects. So yeah, 13th of February I think is the key start date for that. So yeah, I mentioned, we got some upcoming Roma drop-in sessions. We've had some really positive conversations with TGP. I think that's about it from us in terms of short updates.
Nice one, Nick. I don't think we've got any burning questions out. So health, I think, are going next.
Yeah, that's me. 3 quick highlights. So lots of things on here, but I've chosen 3 based on how much I've been bunged in brown envelopes. So here goes. Valinda NHS Trust, the internship program's continuing to support the business change manager, and they prioritised helping them create a digital heroes network to support staff across the trust. And DCW providing lots of information for a new website, which is being developed as the focal point for the Heroes Network. Next, Cwmtaf Morgannwg. Yeah, following the HEIW event that Laura and I went to before Christmas, I met with the specialist nurse from Specialist Mental Health Services, and we've had a meeting with them, which has given us access to quite a few departments in the health boards, and we've already had another contact from the older adult health, mental health and dementia teams. So that was a good contact. Hopefully things will develop in the new year with that. And lastly, Powys Health Board. They're at the moment in discussions with Digital Champion training, and initial meetings taking place there. And I think also Michelle, Ian and Matt are in the process of coming together to see how the work with the health board will pan out following Ian's return. Thank you.
Nice one. We know what's occurring there now. Right, social care, I think, is the next one.
Yeah, that's me. Hang on 1 second. Let me get it up. Yeah, so there's been a meeting with the Senior Policy Manager for Social Prescribing at Welsh Government. They're creating a social prescribers capability framework, and DCW have provided them with information, offer the support with training and resource creation. that can sit alongside the framework and that's going to take place over the coming quarter. We've been working with Merthyr Council Adult Service Care Support to provide training to 3 carers groups on a variety of topics, from digital to support people living with dementia and cost of living. And we are working with the Karen Group, who operate care homes across South Wales. Specifically, DCW are conducting a pilot project with them at Blaenau Gwent Care Village. We'll be delivering VR accessibility and inspiring digital activities training late January, and following this up by loaning them equipment. And if that pilot proves successful, we're keen to roll out, or they are keen to roll out support in their other care homes. That's it for me.
Yeah, Russell, I can't see any burning questions there, so we'll move straight on for older people.
Yeah, that's me. Right, headlines. Last month we made the presentation to the Ministerial Advisory Forum on Ageing at the start of December. During the presentation, we gave an overview of the programme and the support that we could offer. So the Ministerial Advisory Forum on Ageing includes Dawn Bowden, the Minister. So we gave a presentation, and it was interesting. We had a lot of interested and people asking questions. We attended the Age-Friendly Community of Practice online meeting at the start of December, Stroke Association as well. Also the Welsh Language Network meeting, the first network meeting was held in December, Pobl Hŷn a Technoleg. There was a good turnout from various local and national organisations, and Sean Wyn Evans spoke on behalf of the Older People's Commissioner and Stefano Gonzali from Canolfan Bedwyr, which is part of Bangor University, and they develop language technology. So that he gave an update on their current, on what they're working at the moment. There's lots of stuff going on. And it delivered training to Merched y Wawr across Wales, Cymraeg ar y We, and they were quite fascinated with AI. So there's lots of potential there for the Welsh language and AI. And we also met as an older people group to discuss a more formal approach for the tea and tech offer, and we'll be creating a package of support that will enable us to deliver the session in person and online. So it's going to be a package, type package of offer, which that'll be quite interesting, and kind of a go between the formal training and the more relaxed, informal way of learning. Dyna ni.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr, Dian. Falch o gweld bod ti'n dal yn edrych ar ôl Merched Wawr. And finally, we'll be moving on to social housing.
Oh, you're stuck with me, dear. Sorry. So the 3 things that we've got then there, open access. We've been organising different ones, but the Digital Champions combined one was quite a good one, really, just because usually we only get 1 or 2 members of staff from each social housing association that want to attend. And, we just can't, we can't just organise that just for 1 or 2 people. So bringing them together, we managed to get 6 people attending. So I think we're going to be looking into doing that again. We've also facilitated a partnership between the social housing providers on Ynys Môn. They all have tenants they want to support, but they just don't have enough time to do everything that is needed. So they're going to be doing a champion sessions from us, all the staff. I think it comes to about 5 or 6 members of staff. And then they'll be running sessions for mixed tenants. So they're not only going to be tenants from their own housing association, but for any other housing anyone in locally. So the session's going to be in Llangefni, and if you have a social housing in Llangefni, you can come to that. It's not, or you have to be a Grŵp Cynefin tenant. So it is quite nice to see how they're trying to work together, and then that way they're going to lower each other's workload and just have like maybe one social housing to focus on a specific area and then support all the tenants in that area. So it's a different way of working, but all housing associations in Anglesey have signed up for it, which is nice. So there's no one that's not involved. So that's coming up now in the next quarter. And then the last one then is North Wales Housing have received 10 face-to-face training sessions. They're part of the MDLS pilot, so it's a slightly bit more hand-holding really than some other work that we've done. So they've had in 3 different venues so far, but there's another 6 sessions. I know Kaylee's been up and down quite a bit, but I think maybe with Emma back now, she might not be doing that journey up and down as much. But yeah, that's my 3 updates still.
Diolch, Lon. So yeah, I think we're on to any other business.
Fabulous. I think I'm the only bit of any other business at the moment, unless anyone else has got anything. I've posted into the chat, but we've got a Digital Heroes meeting today, just after this meeting. So I will keep this very, very brief so we can all run away and stretch our legs and grab a cuppa before that meeting. The intention is for us to meet with Mike Cowley to talk about sort of what we see the hopeful next iteration of Digital Heroes could look like from a Compass perspective, which is really exciting. At the moment, I've only added in people who were part of the Digital Heroes working group from way back when, but that's not to say that people can't join. It's just to have this starting conversation with Mike now, and then he'll start sort of taking stuff forward. So if you are interested in being involved, please feel free to let me know. And yeah, I'm more than happy to invite anyone. But obviously, we don't want it to be too big of a group, because we all know you've got you know, we've got our own jobs to be getting on with. So yeah, that was the only sort of any other business I had, and I will shut up so we can have a cup of tea.
All right, that's great. All right, not you shutting up, but yeah, thank you. Right, we'll unless there are any questions, well, I can't see any.
Oh, do we need to spin the wheel for next time?
Yeah, yeah, I was just going to move on to spinning the wheel.
Spinning the wheel. Right, Simon, I just need to check you're not on this. Yeah, okay, we're good. So fabulous. Hold on. And I'm spinning the wheel in front of everyone so you know that I'm not lying about it. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Fab.
You need to take me off because I've already done it.
Oh, if you come up again, Michelle, I will remove you. But yes, I will. Lon, can you do that for me?
And me, I've done it as well. Matthew.
Chosen. Matthew Bevan.
I'm so proud.
You can't say you never win anything now, Matt.
No.
And you probably need to add me on for next time as well.
Yes, so me and Lon spoke about that this morning, and Emma and Ian, you're not getting away with it that easily. We will add you from next month onwards. We thought we'd give you a little bit of a break. So yes, Mike, I'm not sure the Christmas quiz counts as chairing a meeting, so you're staying on the list. I'm being very unkind. I'm being a bit.
I don't know. It was agreed last time.
I'm not sure about that.
It was. Recording.
Fabulous. I will make sure that those that have chaired removed. Lon, I'll pop you a message now. But yeah, lovely. Thank you, Simon.
Deal for chairing, Simon. As I said in the chat, incredible chairing, getting us on time, and that was a speed record for updates. Apparently all we need to do is run over time and everyone wants a tea break, and you are all on it with your 3. So hint for Matthew there for next time.
I'll be muting people once they've said their 3, don't worry.
Well done all. That's it, I think.
Brill.
Thank you.
Diolch pawb.
Have a good day.
Diolch.